Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Red House RoundTable hosted by the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. We are here today to talk about agriculture. We're here today to talk about economic sustainability. My name is Rasheed. I'm your co-host, and with me,
Flavius, your co-host.
And today we have two very special guests with us. I have with me Mr. Alpha Sennon from YFARM. He's the founder of YFARM, and he is an agri-edutainer. He's into the agri-edutainment business. And I think that is amazing, bringing young people into agriculture, educating them. Yeah, Faith.
Okay, and we also have with us Miss Anilinda.
Correct.
Yes, from UE. She's the Cocoa Research Center, and she's doing her MSc in Food Science and Technology.
Yes, hi everyone. It's nice to be here.
I'll start with you, Mr. Alpha. We have a problem in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's a very rampant problem. There's a problem that we're not only seeing in Trinidad and Tobago, but it is the problem of the aging farming population being the major stakeholder in agriculture and not the youth. The youth has seemed to shy away from agriculture. How can we change this? What's going on there? Tell me. You're interacting with youths a lot, so tell me.
Well, for starters, being the agri-edutainer that I am, I must give a little 2 seconds of entertainment. Boys and girls, I'm the agri man. To feed the world is my master plan. If you plant one tree, you could eat for free. This will guarantee food security. From field to farm, let's let it sprout. Soon we'll see an end to drought. Once we all grow what we need, soon the whole world we can feed. Man, agri man. So, very important question there, and I think that it's just what I did there is how we can change this. Using the arts, using the music, using poetry, using spoken word to communicate agriculture in a light that is attractive to the young people. And it's just that what we do at YFARM, but starting at a very early age. We often wait till university to teach the youth about food security, and we wait till they get a PhD to now understand climate change adaptability. And it's about being able to start that conversation from early, because the transformative years of condition in one mind is between birth and 12. That is the age group that people make decisions and ideas come to them, and they be like, Mommy, I want to be a doctor. Mommy, I want to be a pilot, you know? Where's the mommy, daddy, I want to be a farmer. You know, so the work that we do is all about geared towards being able to get these young people to understand the importance of agriculture, the vast roles and different, how vast is how spectrum it is along the agricultural value chain, and different opportunities along the sector, along the value chain.
So I'm kind of happy that you start at a very young age. I remember back in primary school, we had agri-science, and we used to go out and plant our tomatoes and watch it, and that was fun. But then I realized that it has stopped in secondary school completely, and then if you remember last year, CXC wanted to remove CSEC as the CSEC Agriculture Science as a subject. So it's basically, we have to start it at a young age to make young people understand the importance, and that it's not just hard work, but it's rewarding work as well.
It's rewarding work.
Yeah.
Of course.
And Annalisa, Anilinda, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Anilinda, you are now at the UE level, as Alpha was saying. How can you have anything to add about the youth involvement in this agriculture?
I would say that how the communities need to form like outreach programs to get the youths involved. So the same way like Alpha was saying, how from a young age, like the community centers, the churches, the temples, the mosque, they should have like programs where they, you plant something and you go out and you sell it, and you get the youths involved, you see where they can make an income, and this helps them boost their confidence in agriculture. So it's not like, oh, I just planting this and I'm just planting that, and they don't see an outcome. If you have them involved and you have the older farmers, the farmers who know about agriculture, help out these youths, they would be able to engage in agriculture. And, the government as well could help with policy making for outreach programs where they go to schools and, you show them different techniques, as well as having, like, seedlings available readily for persons. So, you could go to ministry, get your seedlings, come home, plant your stuff, and you put it out in the market. Marketing is another thing. We don't have much marketing. So this is where we need to step up.
But relating to what Daniel said with even CXC wanting to remove agriculture as a subject, it shows how we as a society, we undervalue agriculture. We have this perception of it. We think that, okay, it's just I farm, I go sell something, but
it's not.
Yeah, it's not just that.
Yeah, I mean, and one would ask is like, it will make you ask questions about how serious are we? Because how could you undervalue agriculture where you need a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot, a police probably once in your lifetime, but 3 to probably 5 times a day you need a farmer.
You need a farmer because it's food.
And it's food.
It's food.
Yeah.
Because we need food on a daily to survive.
Yeah. So I think it's about making the youth as well see a future in agriculture and the importance of it.
I often ask, how does a child know from the age of 3 when they could speak that they want to be a doctor? How do that come out of their mouth, and why does it come out of their mouth, and why wouldn't we hear in the Caribbean then that, Mommy, I want to be a farmer?
It's a culture thing.
There we go. There we go.
Because from the homes you grow up thinking, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a farmer, but you need to implement this into your children, where you say, okay, well, let's do this home garden and start off from the home.
But it's also standardizing the professions that is within agriculture as well too.
Correct.
Yes, one might say, well, you have a PhD in agriculture, I'm a lecturer in agriculture at the university, or somebody might say, I have a business, let's say agro-processing. But then you'll really see somebody saying, well, yes, they are a farmer, but then it doesn't appear to be this professional career. And that is where we need to change the outlook of it, the image of it, and the branding behind it. So it's shifting the culture of agriculture to encourage the younger generation.
So what I know we have Y-Farm, but what other programs, exist to encourage young people to get into?
Yeah, I mean, and I must say, kudos to the couple of, the government of Trinidad and Tobago presently, because under the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service, there's a host of programs. There's the Youth Agripreneur Homestead Program, where young people are afforded 2 acres of land, startup capital, training, internship, actually have interns starting on our farm next week from that program. There's aquaculture program, there's the Shade House program. So there are initiatives, and then of course there's a lot. The Ministry of Agriculture always hosts trainings, but sometimes it always goes back to making sure to reach the right people, and also because for example, some of the folks for the YAP program, some of the young people who you'll want to take up the opportunity, they can't because they don't have 2 subjects. Some of them are dropouts at school, and I often meet them who asking for recommendation, but they can't access the program because of that limitation. While we do understand that, because at least they have a certain academic background, because it's classes that they're going into for an entire year. But the ministry has, I think, mandated that people could do some pre-courses. I don't know if they have to do over the CXC or the CSEC, but to get to that standard, to get into the program. But there are amazing programs out there. But I would still say my focus is being on that children, the nurturing them. To be able to understand how important the profession is. So a child from the age of 5 sees no problem, have the freedom in their mind and heart to be like, well, I want to be a farmer. And I'll give you a real quick example. recently went to a school last year, career day, and everybody's dressed up in, different outfits as the kids do. And I asked, so nobody in the class dressed up as a farmer? And one child said to me, well, sir, I wanted to. And when I told my friends the day before, I'm coming as a farmer, you know what they did? They laughed at her.
Right.
They laughed at her. And how do they know to laugh at her? How is that something funny to them? That comes from in the home.
Exactly. It always starts in the home.
It starts in the home.
So your foundation needs to be built from the home.
Exactly.
Parents, guardians need to teach their children, this is where agriculture starts. Start with a little home garden.
Yeah.
It's simple, a little shadow benny, a little celery side. Start small.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, when I was finished with them, I sure they will never laugh again, because of course I had to use my gift and my talents to be able to explain to them, how that is not a funny thing, and how who laugh last laugh the best. I say, she might grow up to be the person that have food. Eventually when she grew up, and she might be laughing at you.
No. Or you might have to come to her to get your land lease for agriculture.
Understand?
Exactly. Eventually.
I want to add to that and jump a bit. Now, you're talking about that girl who might become a farmer and she's growing her own food, right? Now, we have issues, arising social issues with non-communicable diseases. So we have obesity, we have diabetes, we have certain cancers, and that's all related to our lifestyles and our diet, right? Now, also incorporating in that is how much processed food we import, right? So how do you think that we can get the youth to realize, hey, this is something important, and it's more than just growing food, it is also relates to our diet, our lifestyle, our health choices and outcomes.
So I'll give a story, a real story, not a storybook story. I did a camp, and every time I do a camp, I focus on a particular crop and the medicinal value of that crop. We focus on string beans. After the camp finished, or the day for that subject area, a child comes up to me and says, sir, I really want to grow string beans. I was like, well, how come? Why? He said, because what you told me about it, I had an aunt that lost a leg from diabetes, and string beans helps you with insulin. I said he wants to become a string bean farmer so that no one in his family will ever lose a leg again from diabetes. So, that connected him to our why. To our purpose,
and then a solution.
And a solution, and a how, right there, you understand? So he was inspired immediately, and took it back to a why, from a personal scenario in his family to a bigger thing now, what he can do moving forward, right? And I think there, from that whole question, I think it's connecting people to our why, but people still lacking the power of food, and still don't understand that food is medicine. We still don't get it clear. So we still will run to the pharmacy for everything, and all the vitamins and everything. We're guilty of it, right? But not understanding the power of that West Indian cherry, that guava, that has the highest vitamin C in the world.
Soursop.
That's soursop. That potentially has the cure for cancer. And of course, when you mention these things, you're like, are you a doctor, sir? Where did you get that information, sir? You understand? Because they don't want you to be able to know this. And these are the things that we are fighting.
Exactly that. They don't want you to be able to know this, and the information is kept closely to these persons. They don't like to express the information. So that's where the research comes in. You do your research, but you have to give back.
Exactly.
And if you don't give back, then how is things going to be made easier for persons? Exactly. How a cure is going to be made?
Yeah, and this herbal knowledge is kept with the aging population.
It is.
Correct.
It needs to transfer.
It needs to transfer the knowledge. Mr. Sennon, Sennon, you said we were speaking outside, and you said that you have a farm, right? And we were talking about how the students from the YAP program come onto your farm and do internships. One of the major problems that we see across the world is climate change. Give us a little bit of how climate change has affected your farm. I know your farm, where your farm is located, may be prone to flooding and stuff like that. So just give us a little bit of...
Yeah, well, the change in weather patterns is something that you could never get accustomed to, because, 1 minute they say, you're in dry season, and then you wake up and it's like rain. Next minute they say, you're in rainy season, and then it's like, oh, the sun's so hot today, right? So you always have to adapt to the circumstance and to the situation, and be open to it, and be quick, right? So, of course, like for us, we had to dig more and more ponds on the farm for water collection in the event of extreme drought, right? Now, and for within the dry season as well, what we have done as a climate smart, it's very simple, is use all the grass from on the farm as mulch. So all the grass that we cut, we don't throw it away. No. You keep that.
That's the same thing at the cookery system. When we have beans come in, and you roast them, you break them, you winnow them. We separate the nib and the shell. We use the shell as mulch. As mulch.
And this is helping with food waste.
Yes, food waste, correct. So even like in my home, my carrot peelings, all my peelings, I have coconut trees. I put them by my coconut trees because they help. Yes, compost.
So like I did a project recently in Point Fortin, Lakeview community. Right. And in Point Fortin, there's a lake in Lakeview, right? That's why they call it that. But we Elder came and say, why are you not using the lily from the lake? I was like, using lily from the lake? He was like, yeah, when they drench the lake and they pile up the lily, right, it's just there. It breaks down into real high fertilizer and mulch.
Pure matter there.
Hello, when we went to the lake and grabbed up this lily and put it around the plants, I am seeing the phenomenal results. And that is a climate smart agricultural tool right there. No fertilizer. When I say zero fertilizer, zero fertilizer. So I often say, I must say it on record now, solutions to these issues has to be indigenous.
Yes.
It has to be in the community.
Yes.
It has to be innovative.
Well, that's the only way for it to make financial sense.
And using ICT is how you would now get the youth involved, interested using the media. The Instagram, the TikTok, I don't know if TikTok banners yet, but and
Not in Trinidad.
that's it, okay. Right? And using these things now to be able to excite them about it. But it must be indigenous. But also it's also about merging legacy and modernity. Finding a way to the old school to meet the new school and get the middle. And that is very important in how you really approach it, because we can't lose those ancestral knowledge. It's very important. The eggshell and everything else that people use as fertilizer back then, it's very important.
Okay, so I want to borrow from that and kind of lead to you. So bringing in the research here. So Arthur Lewis, he was an economist, and he spoke about the dual economy model. And that was letting governments of the Caribbean know, okay, one of the ways we can bring up ourselves is to do industrialization by invitation, the manufacturing sector. But he also spoke about agriculture. Yes. And that is something that has been ignored largely. The agricultural sector has not been invested in. Now, I know that Mr. Sennon, he spoke about using indigenous plants, indigenous methods, but you're in research, the food science and technology. How do you think we can also incorporate technology into the agricultural sector?
Okay, so this is our monitoring. Our new technology comes in. So then you have your data loggers, and you could have drones that monitor rainfall, right? So we're looking at using drones to monitor these rainfall. So if you realize some places there are heavier rainfall than some places, which can introduce diseases, then you can have these same new technology to monitor the diseases on your farm, right? So you could, even if there is a lot of rainfall, you could capture this rainfall water and use it for your farm itself. That way you don't go into a drought or anything like that, because like Mr. Sennon said, sometime when they say is rain, we get drought. You understand? So this is how we could implement. But there is technology. It's just we need the sectors and the communities, the government to aid in getting these technologies out to the farmers, because they are pretty expensive. Yes.
But that kind of leads into a thought that I have. You're in a lab, right? You're in a controlled area. You have grants and stuff like that available to you in a lab.
Correct.
How do we make this accessible to our everyday farmers? Our farmers who go out on a morning, who have their crops, their fields. How do we make some technology like this accessible to them?
And like I said, this is where the government comes in. They need to help these farmers invest.
in agriculture.
Exactly. Right? Because if we don't have the investment, we can't do what we need to do. And we're still in that backward scale by just doing the basics.
Yeah, and to add to that, I believe that in 2023, the Trinidad and Tobago import bill, it was $7.2 billion, right? And so it's ridiculous to me that agriculture is not something that we are investing in more and trying to find solutions to reducing that import bill, but also maintaining, food security.
I think the whole mindset is, we can always import, we don't need these things, but we do need to do these things in order to reduce that import bill. Because if we keep importing everything, cost is just going to keep increasing and increasing and increasing. And then you're going to wonder why do I have to pay $10 for a small little pepper or something? So just an example.
And we have so much.
We have so much. We have the land. We just need to lease the land to these youths, not large scale, but we start small somewhere. We start small, we lease it, and they could start and see that okay, this import bill needs to come down.
So yeah, I mean on that topic of food import, one of the most recent things coming out of cabinet was the formation of a food security and food prices committee to basically look, because for too long we have just spoken about the import bill, but nobody not really analyzing what can we substitute this and that for, right? So the committee, and then grow your own, and find ways to grow your own, strategies to grow your own and reduce the imports, and of course, well, not necessarily regularize the price, but of course, prices are set, supply and demand. You know about that from economics. So that committee is set up. I'm happy to announce that I am part of that committee as well, and we are looking at analyzing data right now. Of course, then talking to stakeholders to be able to understand what, why, how, when, and really understand it in depth. And then take, cognitive action from there now and give recommendations as to, you see this flour here? Yeah, we don't need to do this. Let me do this here. Yeah. You see this here? We don't think. Let we increase cassava. Let we increase sweet potato. That Irish potato. We got Trini potato. Forget the Ireland. And literally make them kind of revolutionary moves, because that is what it takes. Because when I think about some countries who are food secure or close to being food secure, they had to get real revolutionary, and they would definitely mash on some tools, because remember, you are affecting business. Yes, you are. You understand? Because somebody who's bringing in apples into this country and they say, hey, and that's the millions they make from that, right? So, and say, hey, we have pineapple, you understand? We have pomerac, the things to replace apple now, right? But it's a revolutionary thing that has to happen. Otherwise, we'll come back here next 20 years saying the same thing.
But this is just to add in a little bit. If you ask a 4-year-old to, draw a little painting of a little fruits they could eat, what do you think they're going to draw?
In the Caribbean?
Yes.
An apple.
Well, exactly.
When I go to schools and I ask, name what was your favorite fruits?
Yeah.
Apple, grapes, banana. Strawberry. Yeah, go here, banana. Pear.
So this is going back to what you're saying with socializing these children from an early age.
Come on, guys.
To love the soursop, to love the pomerac, the pomsite.
Sometimes I often feel the problem is deeper than just that. It's about self and loving yourself and what you have and who we are. Because those things are extension of ourselves, right? So like you'll rarely see a child carry to school a guava. Right? Because it might be like, you bring us a guava.
Mr. Alpha, this is where you come in. Because you're speaking here, and in my mind, well, this is what the children see when they watch TV. They see apple, they see a pear.
Yeah.
We don't have we don't promote our local media.
I'm saying it big. I'm saying it in big, and this is where Agriman comes in.
Yes.
The amazing Ag Ventures on Agriman. We need it on all TV stations.
Yeah.
Somebody say amen.
Amen.
All right.
Yeah, I think we could ask them about culture. And we're speaking about culture and the cultural barriers to promoting local food production, food security, utilizing our indigenous foods. What do you think are some of the cultural barriers? I mean, we spoke about some already, but...
Well, you see, it stems way back to slavery.
Yes.
It stems way back to indentured laborship,
Yes.
where the stigma,
Yes.
it goes on and on and on.
To prefer from the developed world.
And I often say the slave masters who came here and enslaved our people, right, and made them do agriculture, whether sugar cane, cocoa, coffee, whatnot. They took those crops and they went back and built their economy.
That's right.
That is so true.
And then they sent it back here for us to buy.
Yes. And
You want to talk about the sugar cane now?
I want to add two things there,
Don't
right?
get me started.
So that little joke, came in this morning, had my tea, and the tea that I'm drinking waiting for this segment is British tea.
Papa.
British tea, and...
At least get some local honey. Tell me you get a local honey.
No, I ain't got no. It was foreign sugar. It's foreign sugar. But you mentioned something.
Sugar industry,
You mentioned something there with slavery and going back, and actually, there's a scholar, historian. His name is Woodville Marshall, and he spoke about the development of the formerly enslaved and the development of the agricultural peasantry. And he quoted this statistic, the GDP of Jamaica in 1850. And between 1834 and 1850, the peasants, they were able to contribute 10% of national GDP from their local farming.
Okay.
They were able to diversify.
Okay.
They were able to, they were able to challenge the food insecurity and imported goods.
Okay.
Right? And by 1890, he said it was up to 39%. Right?
Okay.
So that shows
So we have the historical data.
Yes.
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 We have the
Yes.
history behind.
Yes.
Why aren't we using it?
So what's the problem?
Yeah, why aren't we using
Is that-
data that we already have?
All I the problem is?
We moved to oil and gas.
It's a people problem.
It's a culture.
It's a culture problem. Now.
And that's why we decided to end today's segment on the topic of culture. I think when it comes to culture, we tend to shy away from the slavery talk, but that is where our agricultural identity comes from.
That is where everything stems from.
Yeah?
But well, yes.
Even before that.
I know we don't say that.
Yeah, even before that too.
Before that, if we look deep into history, what were they doing in Mali? What were they doing in West Africa? You understand? What were they doing in India? So we also cannot just come from the slavery per se, but we have to look beyond before and see the level of empires and what the engineering was, the technology was before.
Yes.
So.
My question is, why aren't we following up on these things? Why aren't we trying to use history
We don't value history anymore. That's the problem. We need to.
We need to.
Right?
From the time you started to talk something about the show, God, or
We
still
were
talking
talking
about that.
exactly.
Come on, that was
Why
so
we
much years
talking about these
ago.
old things?
No, you could never know where you're going if you don't know where you come from.
And then look at our nation's chocolate intake. We have you from the Anilinda from the cocoa research. We like Cadbury.
Yeah.
We like Hershey's.
These are where the
I like my Cadbury. Yeah.
So if you go to like these artisanal markets, you would see our local fine flavor chocolate there. So at the UE, we have different percentages from 175, 70% down to our 55% chocolate. So even like Otinola Estate, they have a chocolate as well. So you have to like go to it's not out in the market. It needs to be. It needs to be.
Why are we still spending the amount of money we be spending on bringing in Cadbury and all those chocolates? Why are and I must say, while we are going to make a little bacchanal here, it's really milk and sugar. Because chocolate, real chocolate now.
But the sugar is foreign sugar.
Oh boy.
Even in the tea.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a good time now to end on this note. I love my chocolate. Valentine's Day coming up. I'll be passing by UV to get some chocolate. I'll be passing by Y Farms to get some chocolate.
60 and 70% bar. So
I want to thank you both for coming here today to spend some time. I would like to thank my co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us at the Parliament. Thank you for joining us. Red House Roundtable. We're done.